I don't tend to rely on splints. They're just a tool when I'm doing extra work or when I'm extra sore. Kia ora, ko Stephanie tuku ingoa, haere mai. Welcome to Adaptive Go. Today I'm here with Lisa from WellHand, and she's a hand therapist, and we're talking hands.
Today we've been looking at Stephanie's hand. She's in for some replacement splints, and we're using splints with her hands to help rest the joints when they're a little bit swollen or painful, or after a day's use. Sometimes people wear them at night time to give everything a break and put your hands in a comfortable position for sleeping. Often when you're sleeping, sometimes you curl up and things get a little bit trapped, and if you've been in this position for, let's say, 8 hours of sleep, it can be quite sore when you wake up. So it's nice to have a nice resting splint for sleeping, and that can really help.
This is my old splint, my sort of second hand pull out an emergency splint, and the reason why I've been using this is because the lovely Ramon chewed up my my splint that matches this one. So we're going to get this replacement splint done, and then what can also happen is the splints just need a little bit of maintenance as they just sort of bust apart, because it's quite interesting. Even though you're sleeping, your thumb, I think, still tries to curl, and it puts pressure on this joint. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to watch Lisa make one of these splints.
So this is a type of plastic that we heat up in the hot water bath here, and then I can mould it to fit your hand specifically. So it's custom made, which is really good. So hot water in here, and then it just melts. So that does mean that the splints react with heat, so you don't want to keep it out in the sun or anywhere. It'll melt. All right, so you've got your sock on already, well done. And then, we like to make a bit of fun out of it. You can choose colours, so Stephanie's chose the gold plastic today. So what we're trying to get with the splints is the wrist in a fairly neutral position, slight extension, and the thumb in a functional resting position here if we're talking resting. If the splint that we're making, Stephanie can also use for out and about, holding onto her walking pole. She's done that, I think, a couple of times.
I think when my hands get quite sore, sometimes I need to rest them during the day as well, so I'll use them at work. But I don't tend to rely on splints. They're just a tool when I'm doing extra work or when I'm extra sore.
So the whole point of splintings is using them as you need to, but definitely, as Stephanie said, you don't want them all the time, because that then means you don't use your muscles and you don't use your tendons to actually keep your wrists strong and stable. So always, wherever you can, motion is lotion for a joint. You want to keep your circulation going, you want to keep your muscle tone to hold on to your wrists and support your joints as well. Just waiting for it to harden up a little bit. And then we'll just put some straps on around once we get this bit finished.
Okay. And
I see splinting as a bit of a collaboration, actually. What works for you? I mean, I'm obviously trained what I think is needed, but it can be a bit of a collaboration as well. And we just trim it to fit. Smooth the edges so there's no sharp bits. Make sure we get the thumb in the position that we want. And I usually stay over here for the heat gun. Rework this thumb. See how we've gone with it. Before I completely seal it, let's just check. Before I put the real hard seal on. So we've got this as a hard plastic splint. It's more a resting splint, but there are splints that are a bit more functional, so soft supports or neoprene sort of supports. You can have hard struts if you need a little bit more. I guess for me it's figuring out what's causing the pain. So is it a trapped nerve? Is it a swollen joint? Is it a weakness in the muscles? Have you actually had an injury to a ligament? So we can really analyse what the cause of the pain is and then treat as such. So you may need a rigid splint to settle it right down. You may need then a soft splint to support when you're starting to use it again. And definitely in my world, motion is lotion. So there are times when you rest and don't move, but there's definitely really important to start to move your joints to help to nourish them. And then when they settle down and the pain is under control, giving you some strengthening exercises can be really useful. So it's green and gold, Stephanie. I'm an Aussie, come on.
I've got a couple of family members over here.
Okay, we still haven't quite sealed the thumb, but we just want to get our everything else fitting right. Looks pretty good all around here. I'm happy with all of that. What do we think about the thumb?
Yeah, it is a little high.
Just a little, that's what I think, a little high, so I'll trim that down and then seal that properly. Okay?
Yep.
And we're good.
Okay.
And it's a trial thing, so definitely don't put up with it. If you try the splint on and you maybe wear it overnight one night and there's something that's not quite right, don't put up with it. It's easy to fix. Try it on. Feels good. Feels good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
That's all right. So we'll fix these ones too.
Yep.
But that can be the new favourite.
Yeah.
So we're just having a little check of Stephanie's grip strength. So this is called a dynamometer, and it just does a pressure reading of how much you can squeeze. So it gives a little bit, it's not an exact science, but it gives you a bit of an idea of functional activity ability. Go for it. So Stephanie's right dominant hand is very good at the moment. 30 kilos of grip strength, that's excellent. And on the left, so we don't want to do this if you have a painful swollen joint. Is that painful at all today?
No.
Nice. That's 29, so that's very good. That's good. That's not a measure of that's not a measure of thumb strength though. So Stephanie's just mentioned her thumb's a little bit sore today. Around here. So we have had some changes around this joint at some times. We've had some splints. This is why one of the splints is looking after this joint. Is that sort of touch in there?
Yeah.
More at the front. Yeah. So that's sort of a progression for me that we need to watch this joint a little bit more, and we need to make sure we keep our muscles strong to support it. So have you been doing your exercises?
No.
How about any nerve glides? How's that going? I know obviously we've got some neck stuff that's related to the nerve, but even that can be quite useful to give the nerve down here a little bit of wiggle room. So even the hand-based nerve gliding exercise, if you remember it, here. Very good.
Ow.
Yeah. So not to the point of ow per se, but a stretch. So I will always push a little bit harder, but I want it to feel like a little stretch, not a pain. So you wouldn't be leaning all your body weight on that. You're just encouraging a little stretch through there. So the nerve's coming up and feeding into this muscle.
Okay. Great. Thank you. So that was the hand therapist. It's really useful, and I always enjoy the lovely Lisa's company. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Ka kite.